Remind me if you've heard this before. The sports card market is on fire. But it's true. It's happening again. Sports cards are going up like crazy. And in today's episode, I've got evidence as to why I think it's going to continue. My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies. And at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me on my journey to profit from the hobby we all love. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode. I just got off the phone with Joe Davis. Now, many of you who have watched past episodes of my show, you know Joe Davis, the owner of GotBaseballCards.com. Is an extremely knowledgeable guy about the hobby. He's been in the hobby for 40 years, owns a gigantic card shop, and he just called me to say that over the last 30 days, his business of selling singles online, on eBay, on Amazon, he's got a huge amount of singles that he sells online. His business in the last 30 days has doubled. It has doubled. He is selling more today than he ever has before of singles online. And he called me up and he said, are you seeing this in other parts of the sports card market? What's happening with transaction volume? What's happening with prices? And I said, Joe, it's happening. I'm seeing it. My data in my Market Movers data tool is showing me that prices are going up across the board. And I do not believe that this is a temporary dip. And I do not believe that this is a dead cat bounce, as some people have said in my comments in the past. I do not believe that. I believe that interest in sports cards, it cannot be stopped. People are so excited about sports cards that the interest and the enthusiasm and the momentum is there right now, and everything is coming back in a big way. And what Joe said is evidence of that. Think about that. Doubled in the last 30 days since sports has been paused. You know, his sales have doubled despite the economic uncertainty and turmoil around us. It's crazy, but you know what? People are home and they love this stuff. And you know, right now there's no sports on TV. There's no sports gambling. There's no fantasy sports. I think we're seeing new people come in who are from those parts of the sports world. People are looking to be entertained, and the sports card market is where it is at right now. I love that about sports cards. We, as sports card collectors, still have stuff to talk about. We can look at these prices going up and down every single day. We can speculate on what might happen with various players and, you know, talk about all of this. And there's momentum in our hobby and momentum in the industry when there is zero momentum in all other parts of the sports world right now. It's really a fascinating thing. And it makes me really happy and proud to be part of this hobby and to see all of this happening. It's really damn cool to share this experience. So I've got some stats today to show you across the hobby of why I think things are roaring back and why I think they're going to continue to roar back. So I can't wait to show this to you. But I also want to show you an amazing article on my website, an amazing article that was written by a guy named Carmi. Now, you may know Carmi because he's written articles in the past. And I do an article submission program where anyone can submit an article to go on my website, sportscardinvestor.com. I take the best submissions, I put them on my website, and I give $250 to the person who writes the best article every month. And Carmi has won the prize twice. He won the prize the first time he wrote an article called Flipping Low Dollar Cards on eBay. And then the second time he wrote an article called Flipping Low Dollar Cards on eBay Part 2. And people loved these articles because they were so insightful and comprehensive. And guess what? He just wrote Flipping Low Dollar Cards on eBay Part 3. And he summarized Part 1 and Part 2 in this article and then expanded on them in his Part 3 article. Folks, look at this article. This is the article on my website. I want to show you how comprehensive this article is. Check this out, okay? Here we go. Stay with me. Here we go. Hold on now. Stay with me. Here we go. We're going. Still more scrolling. Yes, folks, we're not even halfway through the article yet. We're going. You get the idea, right? Look, we're still scrolling. The deal here is Carmi has written an absolute complete, comprehensive, unbelievable behind the scenes look at how to be successful flipping low dollar cards on eBay. You should go read it right now. Pause the video and go to sportscardinvestor.com and read Carmi's article. Carmi, to you, sir, a round of applause. Great job on this article. And I hope that you guys find it as insightful as I have. And by the way, if any of you out there would like to write articles for sportscardinvestor.com and get the opportunity to win a $250 prize for the best article each month, all you need to do is go to my website, sportscardinvestor.com right here, go to the contact button in the main menu bar, and then click where it says article submissions, go here. Just click that button and it's going to tell you all about how you can write articles for sportscardinvestor.com and be eligible for that $250 prize. All right, so let's talk about the sports card market. So, my market mover data tool looks at prices across the entire market. And what I want to show you, this is the screen that lists all of the most popular players in the sports card hobby right now in terms of sales volume, right? So like the number 1 guy is Zion, the number 2 guy is Ja. Michael Jordan has moved up to number 3 in my data with all of the interest around him recently. But what I want you to look at is this column right here, which is the change percentage. This is in the last 7 days. Have that person's cards gone up or down in value? And the green means they've gone up. If you see red, that means they've gone down. Let me scroll through this list. Look at this. Green, 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 green. A little bit of red. Green, 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 green. Green, green, green. A little bit of red. Green, green, green. Just green. Look at all that green. The screen is just full of green. It's all green, guys. Like, it's all of the top players across all sports. And by the way, in my market movers tool now, I now got hockey and I now got soccer. And we're seeing the same thing in hockey and soccer as we're seeing in football and basketball and baseball. Green. Cards are going up. They're going up across the board. They're going up for older players. They're going up for newer players. They're going up across all of these different sports. And it's really, really cool to see. My last episode, if you go back and watch, I talked about Jordan and I talked about Pippen and I talked about Reggie Miller and some of these classic basketball players who are all going up. I wanted to see, is Tom Brady doing the same thing? Like, are we seeing classic players from all sports go up? And the answer is yes. This is Tom Brady's 4 of Tom Brady's more popular rookie cards, his Bowman Football PSA 10 rookie from 2000, his Fleer Metal PSA 10 rookie from 2000, his Skybox Dominion, and his Upper Deck Football, all from the year 2000. And as you can see, there's not only been no dip, but the prices in all 4 cases that they have sold for in recent days are as high or almost as high as they've ever sold for, ever. And so, we're seeing this trend across these Hall of Fame type players across all sports, not just football, or not just basketball, rather, as I covered in my last episode. But it's not just the classic players that keep going up, it's modern players too. Let's take a look, for example, at Zion. This graph is incredible. Look at this graph of Zion. Look at what his cards have sold for in the last few days. He is almost back to his all-time high. We had this, huge run up in the sports card market. It peaked on March the 10th. Then we had the drop due to all the, economic concerns and the virus and all that kind of stuff. Then we had the plateau and the slow gains that I told you about in my last couple of weeks of episodes. And now look at the last week. Look at the last week. I mean, Zion's cards are almost going back up to where they were. This is his 2019 base PSA 10. The interest is there and people are feeling, I guess, more optimistic. Maybe people are getting their stimulus checks and they feel like, hey, you know what? I can afford to buy a Zion with my stimulus check. Hey, look, I'm not suggesting that. If you need that stimulus money to seriously cover bills, cover rent, cover food, help your family out, provide job security, then don't go buy sports cards with your stimulus check. Come on, people. But hey, I think people are. I think people are thinking like, hey, let me get back in the sports card game and see if I could start doing a little bit of flipping. And look at what we're seeing. We're seeing this across a lot of other players. Let's take a look at Luka. Now, his return, he's not quite as far along in terms of going back up as Zion is, but he's still going up, and you can still see, this little bounce that he's gotten in the last week of his base PSA 10. Cards that even a few days ago were down at $430 or $420 are now up at over $500 again. So we're still seeing it with Luka, and you can see the big up and now the down, and now we're starting to go back up again, and we're definitely pointing in the direction of Luka starting to go back towards all-time high prices again. Let's go look the year before Luka. Let's look at Jason Tatum, because Jason Tatum was another one of these guys from 2017. His base Prism basketball PSA 10, where he had a big run up. He came down a little bit, but I mean, look, he hasn't come down very much. And, if you look at what his cards have sold for in recent days, $242, $230, it's really not that far off from what his all-time peak was, which was $292 on March the 9th. So he kind of flattened and is maybe starting to turn the corner back up as well. So we're seeing that across the basketball hobby, whether it's modern or classic. As I talked about in my last episode, cards are going up. Let's look at baseball. And good God, I hope you are sitting down. I hope you are sitting down for what I am about to show you. So please, if you're not in safe conditions, take a seat, because look at this graph. Look at this. Juan Soto is now higher than he was at the height of the peak. At the height of the peak, when Gary Vee and I and others were all talking about how we were buying Juan Soto cards, and his cards were going up and up and up, and they went all the way up to this crazy peak period right here, right around March the 9th, March the 10th. Folks, look where they are now. Look at this peak. Guess what the bigger peak is? The bigger peak is yesterday. And the last few days, they're selling for more money. All-time record of Juan Soto cards. And look at how drastically Juan Soto's cards have come back. And let's look at Gleyber Torres's cards. Same pattern. Gleyber Torres, his cards are back to where they were at their all-time high. His cards are fully back. Does this look like a dead cat bounce? I've never seen a dead cat bounce in a recession where, the dead cat bounce was actually larger than the original economic peak. That doesn't exist. That economic theory doesn't exist. So I think this is real. I think that people are so excited about sports cards that they, even in questionable economic times, they want to be in the game of buying and selling sports cards. It's a great time to be in the hobby right now, everybody. It just is. Now, not all players have seen, things come back the same way. This is Acuna. So Acuna, and of course, Acuna had the most dramatic run-up, right? This guy's, look at how sharp his run-up was during this period. He had the most dramatic run-up in prices. His prices have not gotten back to their peak level, but they're still going kind of back up that direction. They're still today selling for a lot more at $180, $187 than they were a few weeks ago when they were selling for $144, $153. This, by the way, is his Topps Update 2018 PSA 10. So you see this across all of this. Let's look at football. What are we seeing in football? This is Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler Murray never saw a dip. Kyler Murray doesn't know what a dip looks like. Kyler Murray's just going up and up and up and up and up. Look at that trend line. Kyler Murray has been hot. Like this right here was the low point of the sports card world, or the high point of the sports card world. Like March the 10th was the point when all other players reached their peak and started to come down. Kyler Murray said, ha ha ha, I'm going up. Now, of course, there's reasons for that. The Cardinals traded for DeAndre Hopkins, and so that created a lot of interest in his cards, and a lot of people thinking he's going to be the hot quarterback next year. So there were factors in Kyler Murray's chart which caused things to happen. But by the way, what an awesome thing about sports cards, that when there's actually no games being played, there could still be things happening like a wide receiver being signed by the Cardinals, or a documentary of Michael Jordan coming on TV that can cause this kind of stuff to happen. It's fun that, that kind of stuff is possible. It's not just Kyler Murray. Drew Lock is another guy who's been hot. Look at Drew Lock's graph. Drew Lock has not dipped. He has not slowed down at all. His cards are selling for more money today than ever before. More money than at the peak of the sports card market. He is back up at that point. So I have to ask, what was the peak of the sports card market? Because we're some of these guys are now peaking over the peak of the sports card market. Is the peak of the sports card market right now during this bad economic time? Because if this is where the peak is, which my data is showing me that it is, it's what's it going to look like in another year or two when times are good? It's going to be incredible. Like, this thing is going to be incredible. So I am still bullish and optimistic about the sports card market. I was hard pressed to find any examples of guys who I was just disappointed by. Honestly, the best example I could come up with was this Ja Morant graph. If you look at his PSA 10s, they have started to come back a little bit. If you look at his BGS 9.5s, he actually has a little bit of a negative trend line. One of the only popular players out there, out of all the players across all the sports, that actually has a negative trend line. And I think this has more to do with people just not being as excited about Ja as, perhaps certainly Zion has really separated himself from Ja. And, I think people are starting to pay attention to some of the other rookies like Kobe White, and Kobe White's pulling a lot of attention away from someone like Ja. So Ja's the only guy where you look at his graphs and you're kind of like, meh. But all of these other guys, man, it's just like, things are on fire right now. So I got to say, I'm bullish. I have been bullish. I mean, you've watched this show. I've told you, I started telling you a few weeks ago, like, hey, I think now's the time to buy sports cards. I did episodes about it. I hope that some of you guys listen to me, because if you did, you could turn around and flip a lot of those cards today for 50% more than what you paid for them a few weeks ago. Is this going to continue? I think it's going to continue. And I'm not saying that there won't be some ups and downs and some blips along the way. Who knows? But I am just overall feeling optimistic right now. I know not all of you are going to agree with me, and that is totally fine. And those of you who don't agree with me, feel free to hammer me in my comments below, because I know you're going to do that anyway. And that's fine. And only time is going to tell who is going to be right about this. But I got to say, I am all in on sports cards. I just truly believe that this is a wonderful hobby, that people are buying into it, that the hype is still there, that the excitement is still there, and it's only going to go up from here. So, folks, check out that article on my website, that article by Carmi. It's a wonderful article. And while you are on my website, sportscardinvestor.com, please check out my membership program, because as the sports card market starts to do this, you should be a member, because as a member, you'll get insider reports, you'll get card picks, and you'll get access to an awesome community of other sports card investors who are 24/7 talking about sports cards from an investing standpoint. We are celebrating 1,000 members who are part of the membership program, and I would love for you to be the next member. Check it out on sportscardinvestor.com and click membership in the main menu bar. And if you don't mind, please give me a subscribe on my YouTube channel or on my podcast. Click the little bell notification icon. That really helps as well. I appreciate your support of the show. I appreciate your support of the hobby, and I'm excited to see where this will go from here. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you back in a few days with my next episode.